Once again, I'm Ranger Caroline, and on behalf of the National Park Service, I'd like to welcome you to Fort Matanzas, the only fortified watchtower with Spanish architecture in the continental United States. So why is it right here? Let's talk about it. This inlet over here, the Matanzas Inlet, it serves as an entrance and an exit to the city of St. Augustine, 14 miles to our north. Now you want to be able to control that traffic. That's why this fort is here. Prevent enemy ships from sailing north and attacking the city. So while St. Augustine was founded in 1565, I'd like to start our story today almost 200 years later, in 1740. Now, although St. Augustine was the first permanent European settlement in what is now the United States, by 1740, the Spanish, they faced a threat to the north, the British. Now, the British, led by James Oglethorpe, sailed south from the colony of Georgia. He laid siege to St. Augustine, starting on June 13th, 1740. Now, with concentrations on the downtown area in the later part of the conflict, St. Augustine was successfully resupplied through the Matanzas Inlet, and the siege ended shortly after that on July 20th, 1740. Now, this demonstrates the importance of this location to the survival of St. Augustine, because this inlet is a back door to the city. That's why construction on the fort that you see today started shortly after those events in the fall of 1740, and it was completed less than 2 years later, in 1742. Now, not only is this a strategic location, but this inlet is very shallow. Only smaller ships could get through, like sloops or galleys. Now, this is important because those smaller ships, they can't hold the bigger cannons that you need to be able to take on a fort's walls. So Fort Matanzas is very small, but it's the perfect size for what you need at this location. Anything bigger out here just isn't necessary. Now, the soldiers stationed here were also responsible for patrolling the coastlines. Those patrols would bring in pirates, lots of shipwreck survivors, fugitives, and deserters. And it's safe to say the soldiers stationed here spent more time out on the coastlines than they did actually firing the cannons at enemy ships. Now, this fort was attacked, maybe about a dozen times. But each time, this fort fired a warning shot and the enemy turned around without firing a shot in return. So this building was housed by an average of 7 men for a period of about 30 days at a time. Now, raise your hand. You think it could stay out here for a whole month? Couple takers? No Wi-Fi? No. Now, as you can see, it's a 2-story structure up here. There's a top floor and a bottom floor, but each one of those stories is a single room. Now, the bottom room up there, that's the enlisted men's barracks. That room was shared by an average of 6 guys, but they're working in shifts. So 3 could be working, while 3 could be resting. A little more comfortable that way. Now, the top room up here, that's the officer's quarters. Again, it's a single room, but he's got that room all to himself. In that room, he's also got the food storage, the entrance to the powder magazine, where they keep the gunpowder, and a ladder that goes to the very, very top, the observation deck. Now, you all are welcome to brave the ladder and go to the observation deck today. It's a pretty cool view up there. But keep in mind, it's a very different view than what somebody would have seen about 281 years ago. Starting with the inlet itself. The Matanzas Inlet, the actual cut to the ocean, has shifted south by about a half mile. So historically, they had a closer view to the ocean than we're going to have today. Now, this island has also changed a lot. In 1742, Rattlesnake Island was only 2 acres in size. Today, it's about 200 due to artificial growth. 2 big reasons behind that. You've got the dredging of the Intracoastal Waterway on the other side of the island, and the National Park Service has added extra soil around the fort's exterior to protect the fort's walls. Now, as you can imagine, Fort Matanzas looks a little different too. Today, we see this exposed coquina stone, but historically, this structure was coated in a bright white plaster and decorated with red details, the same colors as the flag that would have flown over this fort historically. The first period Spanish flag. It's called the Cross of Burgundy. It's a white flag with a red cross going through it. That would have been the first flag to fly over Fort Matanzas. Having the structure, those same colors, was a symbol to enemy ships approaching that they were now in Spanish territory. So this building looks so different because it sat abandoned for close to 100 years. And in that time, it was in pretty bad shape. Trees were growing where the cannons are sitting up here. There were cracks all over the structure, and some pieces even completely fell away. Now, this site became a national monument in 1924. The mission of the National Park Service is to preserve unimpaired. Therefore, a complete restoration has not been done. Only necessary repairs have been made to make public visitation possible. Today, Fort Matanzas stands as a reminder of the strength and the wealth of the Spanish Empire. While Fort Matanzas was built by the Spanish, today it belongs to all of us. So please help us protect it by not sitting or standing on the walls or cannons. And you can preserve yourselves by watching your step at all times. Now, when you walk upstairs, you're going to be walking into a period between 1763 and 1784. That's when the British held Florida. Only a period of about 21 years. When they held Florida, they also had control of Fort Matanzas. So when you go up there, you're going to see the British Navy. So don't be shy. Ask them lots of questions. And let's plan on being back on the boat by 11:15. At 11:15, we'll head out into the middle of the river, and they're going to fire the cannon for us. Sound like a plan?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Well, once again, I'm Ranger Caroline. Welcome to your Fort Matanzas National Monument. Go get it.